who impressed you most? Biggest surprise, kind of your big picture. Hey, this was fun to watch. They looked really good.
Well, Alabama. I mean, I think they were the team that looked like some of the fans were predicting, but I just did not expect to see them as crisp. And while I'm praising them, I don't want to go too far. I mean, and obviously we already talked about Colorado, but that's an obvious. But to me, I just felt better about the Crimson Tide. A lot of people have put them in the playoffs, and what they showed yesterday, they could have dogged it easily.
Yeah,
they could say, hey, we don't need to do anything. But in fact, I think Nick Saban felt like they did need to do something, and that's exactly what they did. And if we're sitting here a week from today talking about Alabama beating Texas, I think you can point back to a mop-up game, a cupcake game that actually helped them a lot.
I think you find out more about teams and who they are as a locker room and who they are as a unit when they play teams that they should beat the hell out of, and they beat the hell out of them. You don't want a team that lets an inferior opponent hang around, because that shows a crack here and there in the team's attention to get out there and beat a team that they should. And I think a lot of the Powers did that yesterday. I think for me, the biggest disappointment, I'm with you. I was shocked at Florida. I thought they would come out in year two and maybe have that big punch. They just looked listless towards the end. And for me, the biggest, not surprise or pleasure to watch, because you're right, we talked about Colorado, but I'm here to tell you, I said this in the preseason, I'm going to consistently stay with it now. If Joe Milton channels all of that athleticism, we saw them do it yesterday. Virginia's going through some stuff. Heupel, if he keeps recruiting and if Milton stays anywhere near what he's capable of, you have got to take Tennessee seriously, because that kid is athletic as a player and a quarterback that we have in the game.
Yeah, Heupel, because I was in Nashville, Heupel was at a high school game Friday night looking at the top prospect in the state. And I mean, he's got it going. And Matt, it's a cliche. Oh, he's a player's coach. But I don't know if I've ever seen more of a player's coach than Josh Heupel. I mean, he just relates to those guys. He's so unconventional. And, I think it really, everybody's, a lot of young coaches are still connected to their past, but he represents, it's been 20 years, a little more than 20 years, but he could be like, the kind of the guy that showed up for college at 40. I mean, he could fit in that locker room as a player as well as a head coach.
Josh Heupel, this decade's Van Wilder. Yeah. And here's the other thing. We'll leave it with this. Now that all of the Jeremy Pruitt past has been sanctioned down and Tennessee now has that in front of them, now that you can move on from that, Tennessee being back, if they are in fact back, is good for the sport, because they're one of those food group brands. That's why I'm excited about Florida State.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.